We have reached the end of the group stage of the U17s, and we've learned a few things along the way. I know today or tomorrow, depending when you're watching this, you're thinking, did my country make it to the World Cup? Probably not yet. Okay, just breathe and let's talk about the kids first. Let's talk about the kids. We have JD from the WeMaxit channel here, who is here to talk about all the things he saw at the U17s. By the way, if you haven't already, it's on your WeMaxit channel, JD, the fundraiser for the Hurricane.
It's going to be on both. It's going to be
Okay.
on both. I will share it on the WeMaxit as well.
Perfect. So yes, if you haven't already, a great cause. Just help rebuild Jamaica after that hurricane. Go over there, donate what you can, and we'd love to talk about that there. But U17 JD, we went from 24 teams to 48 teams. We discovered, some people discovered New Caledonia isn't just a city; it's actually a country for some folks. Um, but everything we've seen, I think we kind of learned a few similar things, but some things aren't as surprising. When you look at this U17 group stage, what stood out to you just as a general thought?
As what I've said before, first I have to say thanks everyone that's supporting the cause that we put together, and thanks having me Africans. But
Mhm.
what I've said in my previous thing, my previous video that we did, I thought I saw the same. The level of football have risen worldwide. We have
Mhm.
seen a lot of teams controlling games much more. Before, you could have been a speedster and a lot of technical teams can't break it down or can't continue. Maybe only Spain or maybe only a Mexico, but
Mhm.
these severe technical teams alone could have done that. Well, we have seen a lot more teams can do that at a higher level. And what that tells me, football have risen over the world. And that
Mhm.
is amazing because maybe in the future you can see a lot of these teams pushing on to winning World Cups or challenging other teams for the top tier in World Cups.
No, that's true. And I think one of the more fascinating things, because, like we've said in our other video, because it's happening every year, we actually get the opportunity to evaluate players, which could be good or could be terrible. If the player makes the same mistake as he did as a 16-year-old, as a 17-year-old, doesn't mean he's done. But gives countries and us as fans the opportunity to take a look at players and say, okay, we're seeing progression, we're seeing excitement, and also it gets us to know the names of football's future today, which I'm very much excited about. But as we said, 48 teams, we have 32. How it worked was we had the group winners and the runners up from every group, and then the top eight third place finishers made it through. And we're going to go through these groups and kind of talk about some of the key talking points from those groups as we went through. We'll go quick and we'll run it from there as we go. But let's throw up what we had as our group. Group A was Italy, South Africa, Qatar, as well as Bolivia. Qatar is the host, and they will be hosting this for the next 4 years as well. But in that group, we had Italy making it out, going 3 wins in 3 games. South Africa only falling to Italy, but then also drawing 1 game as well. That was their Qatar matchup. And so as a result, Italy and South Africa made it through in this group. When you look at this group, JD, anything stood out to you in terms of players, styles of play, things of that nature?
Yes, this group was a good group.
Mm,
At least I clearly found one of the African teams progressing, but also progressing in football as well. And oh,
mm,
ironic. I've always looked for one of the nations and that much more black players on it and stuff to see if they're playing technical football. And we've
mm,
got to give it to South Africa. They might not have the biggest names from the teams that use a lot of black players on their team, and I do believe that they have figured out that problem that black players have in the region to be technical. I think they have figured it out to use their speed and technical ability. So their system is very good. So I'm impressed with them that they have been successful at all levels of football. And it only shows you if you go and do the right thing and not cheat your people,
mm,
it might not come at the same time. Because remember, after 2002, it took a while for them to really rebalance their system. And
mm,
now their ladies are doing well and their kids are doing well.
mm,
And definitely their main team is doing well as well. But that's what it gives me. It gives me the joy that these people believe in a culture of developing their football, and it's really going places. So I was impressed with South Africa making that extra nod. Italy, obviously, Italy had a downturn in football for a while, but we knew that the Italians, them are always the trap kings of football, the defensive solidity and build through the thirds. Them maybe a little bit slower than the rest of the world, but they're always close to perfect when they're doing their things, when they get it right. And the Italians are getting it right from the other day. And I love that, because you want every level of football back in football. So it's more tactical. People have to break down a lot of different systems. So I like the Italians, and I think they deserve to make it there. But South Africa, I love that they are pushing in all levels of football. So I'm impressed with South Africa making it through.
No, definitely. Again, South Africa is a good case study in terms of if you invest well in your league and you improve your league and then you use your league as the base of your development, it is more than possible. It doesn't mean that they don't have South Africans outside the country, but they've done a very good job being one of the top leagues in Africa. And as a result, you can then develop more players, get more influx from there. But it all comes down to investing into your league, right? You have to invest in it to bring it up on all levels, the coaching, the infrastructure, the fan support, and they've done a good job of that. And so seeing them get these type of results here, love that. Again, what you said about Italy can echo that as well. Very much are starting to get their youth systems a little bit better. It's hard to really see this. Part of me always wants to say after the round of 32, I'll say, okay, so here are your real advances, but we'll see what that looks like again as we go through. Italy only conceding one goal to South Africa at one point through their Group B. This is a bit of a wild group, and this is one of the groups where we were worried about, would we reach a point where goal difference matters? Japan gets out with Portugal. Morocco gets in after their final match day where they put 16 goals past New Caledonia, the same New Caledonia who had drawn Japan the previous match
Mm-hmm.
day. And because they get the goal difference, I mean, 16 goals for +8 at 3 points, they get through on a third place spot. Japan to Portugal to Morocco. Morocco right now, I think in Africa, you look at them there. I always make fun and say they're the golden child, right? Why can't you be like Morocco? Morocco's women's team makes it to past the rounds. They do this. They feel like everyone else in Africa are just like, okay, your mom's always complaining about them, but they're getting the results. This is another knockout round a Moroccan side has made, and they look good. But you look at the Portugals, you look at the Japans. What stood out to you in this group outside of, say, that New Caledonia 0-0 draw versus Japan, where they defended for their lives? Their lives.
What I believe, because even though they might never really made it to the next round, it shows you that if you have the proper organization
Mm-hmm.
and you stick to the plan, it more likely will come off. They try to play football the right way. Obviously, we had said in the first game, we realized that most of their players are not at the top ilk as yet, because
Mm-hmm.
it takes a little while for your condition and everything to get in shape. So Caledonia will be better coming the next time around, but their football fundamentals are pretty much solid. It's just because maybe that crap coming through was not ready. So maybe next year you will see them looking a lot better. So Caledonia, impressed with them. They weren't here scared of anybody. They were here trying to set up, and if you can't properly coach, you will not break them down. And if you can properly coach, you might destroy them. And that's what we're seeing. A lot of good coaches, which we talked about in the system. And I guess Caledonia feel the brunt of those coaches. But next year, I think that they're going to be massively better, and it's going to be equal to them.
No, that is true. That is true. Again, as we see here, that 16-0 loss really helped Morocco get through. We get to Group C. And this is almost where we start the conversation where we see, okay, we're seeing the African teams starting to go through, but then we're starting to see the trend of the CONCACAF teams who maybe at this level we were hoping could show more, but weren't able to. So Senegal wins this group, tied with Croatia, 7 points. They're able to go through, but with goal difference, they win the group. Croatia in second, and then Costa Rica and the United Arab Emirates. Their first game was a draw, 1-1. That was the only points that they got in their games. I want to ask you this to you here. You see a team like Costa Rica, and we've seen them in the past. They've created they've developed players, right? Your Brandon Aguilera's, your Jefferson Bennett's, your right Ugalde's. We've seen them all come through the U17s, the U20s here in CONCACAF. If you are looking at it from a Costa Rican perspective, are you worried that this group doesn't make the group? Or are you just looking at it from how I would look at it, which would be just because they didn't do well this tournament, they're still young, they're still developing. Their future isn't set in stone because they look like this at this tournament. How do you look at, say, coming short at a tournament like
The group that they're in, obviously, United Arab Emirates might not be on the same level as everyone else, but Senegal, most African teams, they have good crops coming through, like natural talents. So it's just down to how much coaching they have actually gotten to put them on the same ilk as the European teams, which always the case. That's why we complain about Nigeria and other countries so much, because we know that the talents are there. So it was a tough group for them to go up against. So to be honest, I've seen them over youth 17s, 20s, and the nationals. I think that their country's league is very good and pumping out a good amount of talent. All right, because they have really replenished their national team within 1.5 years. So I am not worried so much because I saw them at U17s, saw them at U20s, and they're competing with United States, Mexico, and everyone as well. So I just believe that maybe this is just a one-off blip, and they are going to be back around for the next year, much more stronger, much more stronger, even competing with the Croatias of this world and the Senegals as well, because they have a good league and they pump out players a lot every single year. So look out for them. I think you would say the same thing as New Caledonia. Some of these players, they have not reached the ilk as yet. So next year, some of them might be better, and they're going to be the one leading the charge to course the next version of players coming through. But they can manage the team easier. So I'm not worried about Costa Rica one bit at all.
And that's good. And I'm kind of in that space as well. You have years to continue to develop and push this, so you should be fine from there. Group D, Argentina, I think they consistently from top to bottom, they were the best side in the group stage. Just 3 wins, 3 up. Belgium finishes in second. They pushed them in their first game, but then Tunisia finishing in third. They get the win over Fiji. Fiji, again, a newcomer coming in, but looking well. You're looking at, say, a Belgium. And Belgium's in the news more recently because it seems that a lot of the diaspora who are in Belgium are starting to move on from there. But it's a good place to develop talent, right? You're going to find a lot of, even you look at the Belgian league, it's a good league where they're developing a player. So if you can make it there, it does speak to, hey, how good you are skillfully, but also how good you are between the years in terms of taking in that knowledge and playing. But Argentina, Belgium, Tunisia, no surprises in this group. Any standouts for this group here?
Any standouts of this group? Argentina is very good. We just saw Argentina made the finals of the next competition. So we have to give them their respect. Obviously, Belgium, as what you said, the education is very good. But at the same time, it's a challenge, and Belgium have to bring forth everything to get over the big teams, because they're trying to win World Cups at all stages. So Belgium have to try and win World Cups at all stages. So coming second to Argentina, I can't say it's so bad. And that's where Belgium reaches in football, for them to come second, and you're still questioning if maybe they are dropping off. No. I think Argentina is just very good.
Agreed with that. We go to Group E, Venezuela on top. I think that was one of the more surprising results when Venezuela beats England in their first match 3-0. England goes in second, Egypt goes in the third spot, and Haiti, to their credit, they scored in all their games. But I remember before this started, I said, I think Haiti might be able to, give Egypt a good run. And then 4-1 later, I was wrong. What do you make of Haiti's performance here? Because I think there are some things that were positive, but at the same time, just you go 3 there, you lose 3 games. What's your take on Haiti in this tournament?
I never got a chance to do any AD videos,
Mm,
and I wish I had done one, because what that would have done, it would have made people understood exactly where I was coming from, because that's what I've said. A lot of these teams, I think that the coaching really letting them down. But AD, I will always give them a pass, because remember, their country
mm,
is under siege for years.
yeah.
You understand me? It's under siege for years. So with them being under siege for years, it's hard for them to get a proper setup and so comfortable. So it's almost hard for me to really rate them. The fact that
Mhm.
they made it here is a blessing as well, and it shows how hard fought of a people they are. You
Mm,
understand me? But I think with better coaching and better facilities and everything, the Asians will be back to the top of our region, because it clearly shows you that they are the much more better natural talent. You
mm,
know, yeah. But for this level, they just never had all of those things to compete with these teams. Every time you saw that they are short in
yeah.
every department. To be honest, these teams were all better than them, and they deserve to win none of these games. If they had gotten a draw, to be honest, it would have been because they're fast and problematic,
Mm,
but not necessarily because they have developed to the standard of the other teams. Other teams are very good. An Egypt team that they are doing well in football. An England team, if they had never made it, maybe they would have crushed the entire program, because that's how they
yeah.
exaggerate. You understand me? And
Mm,
a
yeah.
Venezuelan team that's always good in youth football. If you have watched Venezuela
That's
from
true.
youth 17s to 20, always good. So the
Mm.
fact that they are even at the top, I am not surprised at all. You understand me? Yes.
And no, agreed,
Yeah.
agreed.
So
That's true. Also in this group, if you want to feel old, JD, Reagan Heskey, that's Emil Heskey's son. Good old English Emil Heskey's son playing for England's U17s. I felt old because I was like, that is him? Interesting. That's actually him. So that's our we're gonna feel old looking at this player. So shout out to you, sir, playing well for England. Group F, Switzerland, South Korea, Mexico. They make it in because Saudi Arabia loses their last game. We'll talk about them later. On a goal difference, but specifically yellow cards. But the Swiss looked good. South Korea looking good. Are we surprised that Mexico finishes this group in third and not maybe in the top two? Or is it just the nature of where this competition is? Or where do you take finding Mexico where they are in this?
um, it's sad. It's and next Mexico is the same as Costa Rica.
Mhm.
You can't really gauge them like that, because their league is so good. Because look at that, you have a Mora that could have
Mhm.
qualified to be here.
Yes.
That's playing in the main team. They have
Mhm.
like 3 to 4 of those players. Maybe because they are playing in their league, that's why they never came here. So it's hard to judge how strong their actual youth 17 is,
Mhm.
because they have some of the best youth 17 players in the world today. You understand me? So
No, that's
it's hard
true.
to judge. That's the problem, because we know behind this youth 17s that they have some of the best young talents in the world. So they came with a bunch of players that they want to give some experience to.
Mhm.
They never got the first place, so it's not nothing to write off for the Mexicans. Mexicans are some of the best footballers on planet Earth,
Yeah.
and I think that they're going to be back next year with some of them that maybe not broke through the actual main teams, so they can actually participate in this one. And it will look a little bit different. But they needed their big guns, and they disrespected the league this time. The World Cup, and not brought them, because with them in this team, they would have maybe pushed to the first, in my opinion.
That's true. And then Cote d'Ivoire, one of the few African teams that don't make it to the round of 32. But and we'll talk about that as an overall view. Group G, El Salvador finishes in last CONCACAF again. Germany and Colombia finishing top two tied, but Germany on goal difference. And then North Korea getting through in the third place spots. Anything on this group here other than Germany? Germany were Germany, but we said this before we recorded. They're young. Like we can talk critically about these players, but they're all 17. For a lot of them, this is their first high stress, high stakes game. So if a 17-year-old blazes a penalty over the bar that sends it to the next continent, I'm not going to lose sleep because he's 17. He's good. He has to learn his nerves, and that's fine. That's what these tournaments are for. But anything in this group, Germany going through, Colombia, North Korea.
Germany. I like the way Germany played. I
Mm,
really liked it. At first, I thought that North Korea would have caused more problems, But you look at the tail it off after. But tell you what, it's a testament of what Germany brought. Colombia, we expected Colombia. Colombia is the same thing as Venezuela. These South American teams are just really good at football. we got to give them it. They're just really good at football at all levels. So don't believe that you're going to come in any World Cups. And if you're not technical enough to surpass them, blinding lights, you ain't going anywhere past them. Because they're going to kick you. They're going to break your legs. They learned that from 14 years old. Believe me. So Germany winning the group, very good for them, because that Colombia team, they might go far in Africans. They might go further, than what people would have expected. I like it.
No, it is.
I like it. North Korea, they never performed, but it's just a mixture of a lot of other regions, and you have to deal with everyone. You have a CONCACAF region, you have a North American, you have a European, and you have to make sure you deal with all of the styles. I thought that they struggled a little with the South American style because of the physicality, but aside from that, they're solid. They're going to give other teams problems in the next round.
Indeed. Group H, Brazil and Zambia finishing 7 apiece. Indonesia unable to go through, and Honduras, another CONCACAF team, at the bottom of their group. Brazil drawing Zambia in their final game. But I mean, Brazil, up until that draw, they looked like they were going to be the class of this competition. But again, different styles coming through. Zambia, to me, are a side who are starting to put it together on all levels. You've seen the women do it. Their men's have looked better as time has come. And now you're seeing their youth team starting to pop a bit more. So again, for Zambia, they have the opportunity after this tournament to go through. We already have qualifying for the next tournament happening in Africa, right? So the process starts all over again. And as a coach, you have to start to move that. And as a federation, invest in it. But Brazil and Zambia, no surprises in this group. I maybe hoped Honduras could have pushed a little bit higher than last, but they weren't able to get that result. Anything on this group?
Brazil, love to see Brazil at the top. Love to see Brazil at the top. Zambia, I was impressed. with Zambia because Zambia comes off like a team like Nigeria, But to be honest, they're slightly better than Nigeria with the technical ability. Maybe they need to kind of own their craft over the years and get closer to the South Africa. But their speed is troublesome and they cannot cause anybody problems. But with these extreme technical teams, with physicality, I think they are going to have serious problems. But if you don't possess those things, and the luck of the draw goes their way, they will slap goals past you, Africans. They will slap goals past you if you have none of those abilities. All right? But I could see them in problems easily by the top teams, just by their passing and moving. But believe me, if you can't pass fast enough as those elite teams, you're going to get 6 directly.
Can confirm. But again, like we look at this athletically, they're always usually about the same area, but it's that technical ability that changes them from what they're trying to do. Group I, United States goes 3 up, 3 down. Not convincing in any game, really. But they get the results.
Surprised me.
Burkina Faso was going to give them a run regardless. That they lost to them, these states, and it was a tough loss for them. Czechia in 3rd place. Tajikistan, another newcomer, not able to go through. I'm not really worried about them because, again, stylistically, you're at U17, right? And I just said that. Athletically, the players are about the same level. It's just a difference in technical ability. For the U.S., it's Cav and Sullivan showing and flashing in moments to say, okay, we get this. It's U17, so we're not going to say he's a real deal yet. For Burkina Faso, you see them, it's okay. No, we see the athleticism. We see them able to play. Every African side here were killing in transition because that was the style where they could really get out. They can run, they can cut back, switching the ball to the other, causing a little bit more disorganization. Burkina Faso were able to do that, but no surprises really here. I figured maybe I thought Burkina Faso could have finished top of the group, but again, they couldn't get the draw versus the U.S., so I'm not really surprised how this group went. It kind of went chalk how I expected. For you, anything surprising?
Well, for United States, yes, they finished at the top. But I expected more domination from this United States team. Especially the group was not as difficult as to their talent. So I expected a little bit better from them, but tell you what, they got it done in the end, and we have to be grateful for what they have actually done. Because a lot of our teams haven't really done much. You understand?
No, agreed,
So
agreed.
based off that, I'm going to give them the credit, the benefit of the doubt, but I think that they could have done better. They could have done
No,
better, in my
sure.
opinion. So
Yeah, but
even with the 9 points, they could have looked dominant as the best, most dominant team in this in the actual World Cup qualifiers because they are that good. They are that good to the competition. If they were in a group with Germany, Colombia, then I could say, okay, them getting a 9 points and scrape some goals. They never looked so in control. Yes, remember it's a late strong penalty to get them over the line.
yeah.
No, I expect a little bit better from them because they're very good at this level as well.
Fair enough, fair enough. To me, I just say, hey, you're at a level where everyone's equal athletically, so you have to think your way through versus run your way through. Group J, Republic of Ireland, they debut Uzbekistan. I expected them Paraguay, Panama. I was hoping for more, but again, another CONCACAF team finishing the bottom of the group. Republic of Ireland, not surprised. Actually, a little bit surprised that they come in. I thought Uzbekistan would win this group just because they've looked good at the youth levels, and we finally see their senior team make the World Cup. Paraguay, solid defensively as well, but I thought they could have pushed through a little bit more, but nothing here. Republic of Ireland, a newcomer. Well, I'll talk about them a lot because they're playing Canada in the round of 32. We get to play, one duel on a pool match, but this group, I not too surprised, but again, young players at the level. Republic of Ireland are loving their time here. What do you think about?
All right. This group was the group that I only got 2 games, which I
Mhm.
wanted to watch more of these games because remember I wanted to watch Panama. You understand
Yes,
me? But I
yeah.
only got 2 games in this group. To be honest, Panama was slightly of a letdown. I expected it much better from them because they have spent a lot of money trying to dam rep in our region. As the
Mhm.
newcomers are the smaller teams trying to make the break to the United States, Mexico, and possible Canada. Or I would say United States and Mexico first, still based on money spent, and
Mhm.
the infrastructure that they do have. Yeah, so it was kind of a letdown. But I know that they're going to be bouncing back soon. If any one of the smaller nations in our region can bounce back, it would be Panama because they're spending enough money. Ireland, credit to them. Credit to them.
Mhm.
They deserve to be first, Africans. They deserve to be first,
Yeah.
to be honest. I was kind of surprised of them being this good because Paraguay would be the one that I thought would have topped the group because we know that South American problems that they do possess, and they had it in this tournament. But for some reason, credit to Ireland, they had the ability, the technical ability, with the speed
Mhm.
and the physicality to get around them. So when they were trying to be as physical, they had the technical ability to match with their speed and skill to nullify them. So for me, I kind of like it. I kind of like it, and they deserve it. Big up to Ireland. Keep on pushing it. Hopefully, can transfer it to the U20s and the senior team.
No, no doubt. I think again, a group that if you've watched how they've developed, they've been together for a while at different levels. So there's a lot of familiarity within the group as well. So no surprise there. Group K, also known to me as the Doomsday scenario, everyone finished on 4 points. If you saw me tweeting about Canada earlier yesterday, I was like, listen, just don't lose the game. If you lose the game, I don't want to do yellow card math or goal difference math. But everyone finishes on 4. How it goes is France wins with +1 goal difference. Canada finishes in second. They're tied with Uganda, but
Oh
have
my God.
less yellow cards, and then Chile go out with a -1 goal difference. They need to beat Canada by 2. They only beat Canada by 1. Uh, I don't need. I took a day off yesterday, JD. I was like, I didn't. I'd spent all morning crunching numbers, doing math. But to me, the story of this group is Uganda, right? I know
Yes,
Canada.
yes. I think
Canada
that's
has
a
yeah.
no-brainer. That's a
Oh,
no-brainer because we
oh,
thought that maybe everyone would possible. No, Uganda would have been the one that splits the ears between all the other guys. Them. That's
mhm.
what we expected. And to be honest, you have to give them their credit because they are in the mix. Yeah, they are in the mix. Yeah.
Their first game, right? And this is where like the Uganda's versus Canada did so much for this tournament for me, right? I first of all, the fans who were able to get there, the smaller pitches, they had people on the back pitches watching the game. So it felt like if you probably had what, nearly 1,000 people within that stadium, and then the stadiums, the pitches behind watching the game, the crowds were live for it. You saw them come out and they just said, you know what? We're going to play how we know how to play, which is space behind the fullbacks, counter, switch, transition, goal. They did it every game and they got results in every game. And to me, I mean, that's if you are an organizer and saying, why did you go to 48 teams? You point at Uganda and you say, because of that. You want to see those guys get the if you're the people who are saying that, that's your golden child. You say because of what they did, and we want more of those stories. So to me, Uganda to me is the story of this. And at one point, you thought, oh, they could actually win. They never looked out of place in any of their games. Everything was just chaotic and cardiac for them. I mean, they lose to Canada in the last 10 minutes of the game. They draw Chile in the last 10 minutes of the game. And then they're holding on for life throughout the entire game against France. So for them, it's a full conversation of just what are they able to do in terms of pushing forward, seeing what they can do in terms of building off of this. But Uganda is the story of this group, and then following that, you have just the other teams all pretty much level. How did you look at?
As you said, the surprise was Uganda. Every other team we expected, and to be honest, you're kind of worried about Canada, but that's you and Canada. You're always worried, even when Canada is the best team, you know. So once I saw the drums, and I see why Africans were worried at any point about Canada versus France. It kind of looks like they have a solid team. Give them a little chance. Obviously, they went on to lose a game when, to be honest, they should have gotten something from the game, and that would have put them at the top. So I want to say that based on Canada's performance, they should have been the one winning this entire group on 5 points. On 5 points, because the 2-1. I thought that should have changed. Mm-hmm. That should have changed. I thought, So the 1-0 loss, I should have said. Was it 2-1 loss or 1-0?
2-1. 2-1 loss to Chile.
2-1 loss.
No, yeah.
That should have been 1-1. I thought that 2-1, 1-1 or 2-2. 1-1 or 2-2 should have been a draw. I don't think they were so far away from them to win it. But a draw was deserved. So 5 points, they should have won the group with. So, but aside from that, I thought that the group was highly competitive, and I agree with you. Maybe when the persons were actually building this big excitement of expansion, they were thinking of a team that can be the story team of the actual World Cup, and Uganda would be one of the story teams, because you had more than one story teams, but this is the story team, of story teams. Mm-hmm.
No, for sure. And I think to put one Canadian thought on this, they just couldn't finish consistently. If the Chile game is a game of all their games were games of two halves, and I think that speaks you're dealing with young players, and so for the younger players, you're saying, okay, in the first half against Chile, if they actually bring their scoring boots, they had 4 big chances that they missed, and they only have 1 goal. If they score those, the game ends maybe 3-2, maybe 4-2. But they're still more in control, and Chile are maybe chasing a bit more. They have more counter opportunities. Canada, again, I keep on making the example. Parker, he skies a penalty, and at that point, I'm like, yeah, you're 17. I'm not worried about it. You'll learn from this. So again, they're young players. You go from it, but I think this was the group that if you're a FIFA organizer saying, we want more of this. If we get more of these groups, then we're good. Then we are happy and we're good with what we're looking for. Group L, Austria, Mali, Saudi Arabia, who, if not for all their yellows, make it to the next round, then New Zealand. Austria, another solid European side. Mali, they're always solid at the youth level. Have been able to translate it to that next level in terms of the U7 are the main teams consistently, but no surprises there. Austria gets past, and then Mali there. Anything standing out for you here?
No, I've not really gotten a chance to watch this group. This was the group that evaded me. Yeah, but Austria and Mali, I'm glad to see an ex-African team that I think will struggle with some of the fundamentals, because I did saw a piece of it, and Mali looks much more surprising. You understand me? And this is where Mali was the team, because I watched maybe around 20 or 30 minutes. But the problem was Mali was a team that surprised me when I heard Nigeria making excuses. I'm very sorry, people, if you're watching and you hear me beating Nigeria continuous. But it's
It's what
because
I'm
I
doing
cover
this week.
Nigeria
Apparently,
a
it's what
lot.
I'm doing this week,
Yeah.
JD. So
Yes.
whatever.
Yes. So Mali showed me that he can do a lot with little. You understand me? You just have to have the intention to do good. That's what Mali brings to me. So the fact that they got a chance to go through, congratulations. I think they're going to have the same struggle as Zambia with the extreme technical teams. But I think that they have shown me that they could surprise even some of those extreme technical teams. They're going to drop back in a low block, but their break with pace is problematic because they have control over that pace, which needs technical ability. So I still like it. I give them a shot. I'm surprised I give them a shot more than even Zambia in a lot of technical games.
Well, I think it
How they
comes
can
down to
break out of the
matchups.
play, that counter control, I gave them a better shot than Zambia against these technical teams. Yes. So that tells you that they have done, they have convinced me. So hold me right here, Africans. Hold me at that point, because when you see them do it, you're going to say, oh God, JD really watching these guys, And I just saw them for a little spell, but I just like it. And I had to watch them in qualifiers. So that's the sad thing. I never got enough time to watch them in the World Cup more than just 30 minutes. But it's so much games. So I'm sorry, people from Mali, that I never got a chance to watch enough of the games.
That's true. That's true. So as it stands, you have your top 8 third-place finishers, which are from the bottom up: Mexico, Tunisia, Czechia, Morocco, Paraguay, Uganda, Egypt, and North Korea. Those are your third-place finishers. Your group winners are Argentina, Austria, Italy, United States, Brazil, Senegal, Venezuela, Switzerland, Republic of Ireland, Japan, Germany, and France. And then your second places are Zambia, Croatia, South Korea, Portugal, Belgium, England, Uzbekistan, Mali, Burkina Faso, Colombia, South Africa, and Canada. They re-ranked everyone by the best teams to the worst teams. So for numerical purposes, because if I say what the actual matchups are, it's 1 versus 32, 2 versus 31, etc., until you get to the middle, which leaves you now with the matchups that we have: first versus eighth, and as we go through. So these are the matchups coming into the round of 32. You have Argentina versus Mexico, Austria versus Tunisia, Italy versus Czechia, United States versus Morocco, Paraguay versus Brazil, Senegal versus Uganda, Venezuela versus North Korea, Switzerland versus Egypt, the Grady on a pole match, which is Republic of Ireland versus Canada. Ireland have a player who was born in Canada, who played for Canada U15, and then he's off to Ireland since then. They took him quick. And so that's the matchups there. Japan versus South Africa. That's a fun matchup of styles. Burkina Faso versus Germany. France versus Colombia. Zambia, Mali, Croatia, Uzbekistan, South Korea, England, and then Portugal versus Belgium. Those are your matchups in the round of 32. Which one of those, if you have to say, okay, I'm taking time, I'm taking 3 blocks, and I'm watching these 3 games, what are your top 3 games that you see here?
I am very much disgusted to see Zambia versus Mali. I wanted both of them to face someone else. That is so sad. And Uganda versus Senegal. This is sad. What are they trying to do? I wonder if this is a setup. You know what? You had to play for the position, so it can't be a setup.
That's true. That's true.
All right. So Mali versus Zambia, I'm definitely going to watch. Germany versus Burkina Faso will be my first game to watch.
Okay.
Germany versus Burkina Faso will be my first game to watch. And then Zambia versus Mali, pure entertainment. Pure entertainment. Speed until speed stops.
All gas, no brakes. Listen.
Yes, no brakes. Yes.
Brakes for whom? For what? Hamstrings? Hold on.
Okay. But our next troubling game, will be South Korea versus England. Ooh.
For me, I mean, it's not my top game, but Ireland versus Canada, just because, the McDonald Grady's playing, but also I want to see how both teams respond. Right? This is their biggest game at this level ever. Let's see what they're able to do there. I do agree with you with the the inter confederation, you have inter confederation matchups kind of draw away, but what can you do? Czechia versus Italy, I would have loved to see them play other teams, but South Africa, Japan, I would have fun with that game because I think South Africa are comfortable both playing in that transition, but as well as saying if we have to build out, they've shown that they have been competent enough to do it. So I want to see that matchup. Um, so those two, and then uh, number three. See, why South African teams play each other? Well, at least we know two are definitely making it to the round of 16. Then,
Yes, yes.
right?
It kind of helps. It kind of helps. But I do believe that even if they never played each other, two would have still made it across. That's the feeling that we got, right? Because Mali
Yeah.
and Zambia looks like it could be too upset for others. So maybe both of them would have made it across.
Mhm.
To be honest, yeah, it's fair. It's fair. It's fair. It's fair. But I guess what we got here is one surely making it to the next round. You know.
Yes. I think I know what my third matchup is. It's France versus Colombia. It's
France
just been
versus
sitting.
Colombia. Ooh.
It's just sitting there. I'm like, oh, actually,
Yeah, that's a good one as well.
France again.
Um,
We're judging
I
teams
think
based off
Colombia
of the
beat
brand.
France.
I
I think
think Colombia
Colombia beats
does.
France.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Colombia beats France. Yeah. I don't I have a feeling. I think they're gonna struggle with that physicality and that fight from Colombia.
Mm.
Yeah, so I think I'm going for them. So let me run through the Africans because they know that the day
Yeah.
is tight with the
Yes.
amount of work, you know.
Indeed, indeed. We'll wrap it up here, guys. But keep our eyes posted for that. And as always, we'll stop talking right